And yes, there really is an Oklahoma Accounting Hall of Fame. I want to invite you for a moment to a typical Sunday morning in my house. I wrote this a couple weeks ago. It's Sunday morning, 3 o'clock a.m. I have a meeting at church at 7. My alarm goes off. I'm tired. I would love to stay in bed. Why not sleep another 3 hours? It doesn't take me that long to get ready in the morning, so why not sleep? Because I want to go to Boston. How do you get to Boston? Well, for those that see Boston as just a city, they buy a plane ticket or drive a car. How do I get there? I need to qualify. I need to run 26.2 miles faster than 3 hours and 25 minutes. And none of that happens by me staying in bed. It doesn't happen by me sleeping. You see, I've run a lot of races. That's the Chicago Marathon. I'm not in the front. I'm not that fast. I was way in the back years ago. My dream is to run the Boston Marathon. The Boston Marathon is one of the most prestigious races in the entire world. It's part of the World Masters series. It's the oldest and most famous U.S. marathon. 500,000 people run marathons every year in the United States. Only 29,000 are allowed to run in Boston. Now, I can get there one of three ways. I can raise money for charity, which is a very noble cause, but I don't want to do that. I could go on Craigslist and I could buy a bib, but that's illegal. And for those of us that are rule followers, we just don't like to do illegal things. So there's probably this board of governors that overrides this entire organization, and they have set a list of standards that you have to meet based upon your age. For me as a 46-year-old male, I have to run 3 hours and 25 minutes. But wait, that doesn't mean if I run it, I automatically get in it, because you see, the faster people get in before the slower people. So I've been told I need to run 3 hours and 20 minutes. So that's my dream. That's my goal. But let me take you back several years and tell you how that goal got launched. 13 years ago, I started running because I wanted to lose some weight. I ran a 5K, that turned into a 10K, which turned into a half marathon, which turned into a full marathon. And my goal at that point in time was to run my first marathon in under 4 hours. And I did, with my neighbor. I thought, I got this. I can do this anytime. I went and ran my second marathon in Washington, D.C., and thought I was going to run about 3 hours and 30 minutes because I got this. I ended up running 4 hours and 45 minutes. I don't got this. But another dream was birthed. It was, I want to run a marathon in every state before I die. So that turned into an obsession. So to date, I've run 34 marathons in 29 states in the District of Columbia over the course of 13 years. And as of the 6 miles I ran on the treadmill this morning, I've run 19,818 miles with 32 pairs of shoes. I'm a CPA. I track this stuff. Okay? Now, to help put that into context, if you were to assume a 9-minute mile average and do the math and compute the 19,818 miles and look at the distance between Atlanta and Seattle, I've run from Atlanta to Seattle 7.5 times, and it's taken me 124 full days. Can you say, run, Forrest, run? Okay? So over the course of time, I'm trying to complete these states, and my goal through most of these has been to run under 4 hours. And remember, the first time I did it, right? Little did I know it was going to take me 8.5 years and 21 marathons to get back under 4 hours. But I did it, okay? And so here's a representation. This is the states, this is the United States. These are the states I've run in. All of them have meaning. All of them have special memories and things to me. But the 4 hour thing was very elusive. But you notice there's no star up in Massachusetts. And as I go through this process the question everybody asks me, because I share with many people, you run a lot, right? How many miles did you run today? When's your next race? It's become kind of who I am. Everybody knows this. They always ask me one question when I meet a person. They ask me what? Have you run the Boston Marathon? No. Have you run Boston? No. Have you run Boston? No, I'm too slow. In fact, if I don't get any slower, I will be able to qualify by the time I'm 65. So really, it was not a part of my dream at the time. I'd like to do it, but maybe when I'm 65, right? So I'm going to share with you all the great things that I do to try to get faster. This is wheatgrass. Have you ever had wheatgrass? Okay. This is beet juice. Have you ever had beet juice? Okay. I'm going to ask you, tomorrow morning, I want you to down 16 ounces of beet juice, and after that, I want you to chase it with a milk chocolate Ensure meal replacement drink. Don't burp. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you, warning you. But this is what I do, okay? And so then I get into, I have a doctor that tells me I should take L-glutamine because this helps my muscles recover faster. He tells me take L-glutamine. I don't know what this is. I don't know how to pronounce it. But I take it because it's going to help me. Well, my latest venture, as you can see, I kind of got warded up today. Thanks to Corey. He said, you might as well wear what you usually wear. Don't get too close to me because this is actual running gear and it might stink. But my latest thing was I ran the LA Marathon back on Valentine's Day. Okay, the shorts I normally wear are like this. Who's ever heard of Ranger panties? Do I have some military guys in the room? These are Ranger panties. They ride up about like up here. Hey, you're in LA. It's hot. Why not run free through the streets of LA like this, right? It was a great time. But as I'm going through this process, I told you it took me several years to get back under 4. 3 years ago, I ran 3 hours and 38 minutes. You see, I've been taking these tests on a treadmill, and they tell me my body can run 3 hours and 19 minutes. But something's not making it between my legs, my lungs, my head, and my heart. Something's just not making it. 3 years ago, I got the nutrition to line up, and I went to Wichita and I ran 3:38. And I said, I'm almost there. I only need 15 minutes. Had a conversation back in July with a friend of mine. He says, you're not going to get, that's a minute a mile. He goes, have you thought about, it's 30 seconds a mile. He says, have you thought about having that? Okay, let's do that. So I went to Charlotte in November this past year, and I ran 3:31. I only need 15 flippin' seconds to get to my dream. Normally you go, okay, I'm going to rest and try it next year. I have a friend who says, no, go for it. So I went to LA. So right now we're in the middle of this, we launched the dream, now we're working the dream. We have a shot, let's work the dream. These are the life lessons we're going to talk about. Number one is know your distractions. What are the distractions that keep you from obtaining your goal? Here's mine. Anybody know about skinny cows? I love anything chocolate. I'm just telling you. Skinny cows, bundt cakes. When your 18-year-old daughter works in a bundt cake shop and she brings home rejects, how do you stay away from that stuff? This one just recently. Who knows what this is? No, it's crack cocaine is what it is. I'm just telling, I can't stay away from these. But I'm telling you, 5 pounds can mean 5 minutes in this trek, and I got to stay away from this. So know your distractions. That doesn't mean I always stay away from it, but I've got to do my best. Know your distractions. The second thing is you have to have the right mindset. Okay, and this is just not think positively and you'll get there. Number one, when you're talking about keeping your mindset, whoa, I forgot what it was. Hold on a second. There's the mindset guy. The mindset is that you need to, got it. Sorry. Wow, I went blank. It'll come. Screaming. Focus. Thank you. Focus. You gotta keep your focus, and this is why. I have an app that I use that tells me exactly what splits I need to run every mile based upon the topography of the course in order to reach my time. And so I write them down on a piece of paper, and I hold them in my hand when I run. And I sit there, and over the course of 2 miles stretch of time, I continually repeat the splits. 7:35, 7:40, 7:35, 7:40. It keeps it up here. You might seem to think that I'm like a robot, but it helps me. It keeps me focused the entire time. So what are the things that you need to focus on when you need to obtain your goal? Okay? So I need to keep focused the entire time. The other thing that I really need to take care of is I need to know what are the screaming things that go on in my mind. What are the things that pull me away from reaching my goal? These are what I call my screaming demons. These little blue spots are a place on my body where I go to get treated by my doctor. Okay? It's over the course of time. It's over the course of 7, 8 years. But these are the things that scream out to me. So 4 weeks ago, I'm running a half marathon. And the last thing you want to do when you're doing a training run is put on a racing bib, because that means you run faster. I was 10 and a half, 11 miles in, and this demon right here started screaming at me. It started tightening up, and the first thing that went off my mind is, oh, here we go again. Oh no, what's going to happen? I finished the race. I actually had a PR, which was really pretty cool, but I didn't know what was going to happen with my leg, and it was scary. Which brings me to my third point of working the dream is, who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are the people that have influence in your life? This man right here, Dr. Brian Flournoy, has kept me on the road for 8 years. He's treated every one of those blue dots. Now, I don't know what he does. I can't figure it out, but he fixes me. And I'm not sure you can see it in that picture right there, but that's my face. That's not a made-up face. He's got his hand on some tendons, and it's making me scream. Brian Flournoy is critical in my pursuit of getting to Boston. This is Raj Patel. Raj is going to run 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days in January of 2017. This man just oozes Jesus everywhere, and everybody needs a Raj Patel in their life. This picture was taken after my leg seized up at that race, so I was happy to see him. This was the first time I ever beat him. I've known him for 6 months. Every time we run, he says, Jeff, you got this. Jeff, you're going to do this. He doesn't only believe I'm going to do it. He knows I'm going to do it. This is my soulmate. Many times I've run for her. I've paced her 4 marathons. We have a great time. She allows me to do what I do, and I'm very thankful for it. You have to surround yourself with people that have influence in your life. So this was taken in LA. The most important thing I have to say today is that you've got to enjoy the journey. Okay? I talked about LA, and one of the things I forgot to mention about is not only do you have to focus, but you really have to make critical decisions when you've got goals. We went to LA. The main reason we went to LA was because I got to see the U.S. Olympic trials. This is Meb Keflezighi. He's my favorite runner. This dude's 40 years old. He came in second place, qualified for the U.S. Olympic team. I got to see him run on Saturday. Man, I was pumped up. I was ready to go. We got into the race on Sunday, and it was going to be warm. We knew going in it was going to be warm. So you could do everything you possibly can through training and just not control the situations. Much like life, right? We do everything by the book, and then it just doesn't work out the day we need it to work out. So we get to race day, and I'm 13 miles in. I'm going for my first BQ. I'm really going to go for it. I'm going to go for 3:23. That's my number. I'm halfway in. I'm actually a little bit ahead of time. I'm doing great. The critical decision I had to make was at about mile 15 or 16, I actually run into the 3:20 pace group. What that means is that's a bunch of people that have gathered together that are being led by a leader to run 3 hours and 20 minutes. Well, I want to run 3:23. We might think 3 minutes is no big deal, but there's energy that you need to conserve there, so I have to make this critical decision. Should I stay with them, or should I conserve my energy? I let them go. Okay, I made the big boy decision. About 4 or 5 miles down the road, I hit the hill. I hit the hill. It started to heat up. And the person in the black Nike shorts that I've been running with for several miles, not really with, but could see him up there. The person in the red Adidas top, I could feel it slipping away, and then physically I see them just leave me. So what do? I kind of stopped. And then the second cousin to David's voice and the third cousin to Corey's voice. Way to go, Jeff. Good job. Remember all those times you tried to get to 4 hours, you couldn't do it? Ha, got you again. You're not worth being out here. You suck. What are you going to do now? So what I did is I started to walk. And I started to remember the fact that I have the physical ability, the mental capacity, and the financial resources to be in LA running on the road. I had been at Dodger Stadium. I had been in Chinatown. I had been in Koreatown. I had seen the Hollywood sign. I had run down Rodeo Drive. I had seen the Whiskey A Go-Go where Motley Crue got their start. And I kind of said to that voice, I said, greater is he who is in me than he is who is in the world. I'm going to take every thought and take it captive to Christ. And I'm more than a conqueror through him who loved me. And you don't have any power. I mean, you think you're so strong. That's because I've been carrying you on my back for 17 miles and 34 marathons. So let's go. We get through the race. I actually ran 3:35, which has been my second fastest time ever. And funny enough, if you would have told me 2 or 3 years ago that I was going to run 3:35, I would have killed for that time. Wasn't my BQ, but the best part about it was if I had gotten my BQ, I probably would have been so happy. But because I didn't get it, I mean, I wasn't sad, but I hung around in the chute. And I waited for my wife. My wife, she ran with a friend. She was hurt going in. She was very apprehensive. And the best thing about that morning was I got to see the smile on her face when she crossed the line at 5 hours. Not only did I get to see that, but I got to see the sunset that night. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. But leaving, knowing I was going to be doing this discussion or this speech, I thought this was going to be, I obtained my goal, here I am. But it changed. And so this is what I wrote on the way home from LA. Like I said, I've had 34 marathons. I've been goofy twice at Disney and rode a roller coaster in the middle of one of the races. I've run with 45,000 people in Chicago in a race that was actually canceled after it had started. I've run an underwater mile and finished on Ford Field in Detroit, done the Lambeau Loop in Green Bay, and finished inside the Fargo Dome in North Dakota. I've run past Dodger Stadium, Busch Stadium, Old and New Tiger Stadium, and Camden Yards in Baltimore. I've run 20 miles with Lake Superior over my shoulder, and I've beaten a presidential candidate, Mike Huckabee. I celebrated a grandfather's life by running 2 days after his funeral in a location chock full of nostalgia. I ran the day after Saddam Hussein was captured and witnessed a military flyover to celebrate the event. I've run where Elvis was born, where he recorded, and where he performed. I've had a Marine put a medal around my neck, even though I walked half the race and felt like I didn't deserve it. I visited the rock that denotes the death of a famous runner, and I've relieved myself outside the gates on the side of the most famous cemetery in the United States. But with all those experiences, my favorite memories are pacing my wife to her personal best times. So as I was thinking through this morning, and I'm not trying to be sacrilegious or anything, but you know the story about Jesus and Satan and the being tempted in the wilderness? I could picture, the question for me is if I could trade all those memories for my BQ, would I do it? The answer is no. Because I know that I'm going to add that BQ time to that list of memories. So here's where I'm at today. This quote, where's Shay at? Shay knows where this is coming from. This is one of our most influential philosophers, poets of all time, Eminem. Look, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted, one moment, would you capture or let it slip away? I've had lots of moments. I got one more. And that's going to take place a week from today. A week from tomorrow, sorry. I get to go to Tacoma, Washington. My body is tired. It's been going since July. I'm at a point now where even this morning on the treadmill, I feel like almost every step could be a tweak, could be a pull, could be something that's going to take me down. But I got one more shot, and it's all Raj's fault. He keeps saying, you go for it, you go for it, you got this. I'm going to go to Tacoma, Washington, and I'm going to run their marathon. It's a downhill It's a downhill slope. It's a downhill course. My splits are right. I'm healthy. And I'm going to go for it. I am going to run 3:20 next week, and I'm going to celebrate the heck out of it. But I want to invite you to join me, if you want. I'm on Twitter at jfrabecpa. You can follow me on Facebook, or if you want, I'll get you my phone number offline, and you can tweet me, or you can text me that morning. But this is going to be a big deal for me, and I'm gonna do it. And the other thing about this has been, before I've always been afraid to even mention a goal like this on Twitter or Facebook for fear of missing out on it. I never thought that I would travel halfway across the country and stand in front of 60 or 70 people and tell them that I'm going to do this. So this is a big deal for me. This is a launch out for me. So thank you for allowing me to share my dream with you, and I hope to see you on the other end of the finish line.